This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Monday, the 25th day of March in the year 2019. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Still unhappy with Friday's ruling by the Court of Appeal, which has invalidated the no-confidence motion, the opposition People's Progressive Party has indicated that it will not be attending any sitting of the National Assembly until the outcome of the moves to the Caribbean Court of Justice. The attorney for the opposition leader and other interested parties are expected this week to begin making moves to the CCJ for a final say in the validity of the no-confidence motion against the Guyana government. In a statement on Friday night, opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo said he was surprised by the ruling of the Court of Appeal.
If this had to be overturned, I thought there would have been some other technicality, maybe on the issue of dual citizenship. But we made it clear that 165(2) of the Constitution would validate any vote that a dual citizen may make in the Parliament. I never thought that this issue of 34-31 because is needed now to pass a no confidence vote. It's probably the weakest argument, yet there is a ruling of 2-1 in this nature, and we have to challenge it there.
His attorney Anil Nandlal was just as surprised.
So whilst we have won on all the issues of law, as you would have heard, we have lost on maths. And I never thought this to be a case of maths. I thought this was a case of law. Well, they have said the decision of the court is that the no confidence motion was not passed by the majority required for it to be passed, and everything that flows from that. All right?
The Guyana Court of Appeal on Friday, by a majority decision, ruled that a no-confidence motion was not carried by an absolute majority that was needed back in December. The Court of Appeal's decision has effectively given the government a new lease on life and has put a hold on any need for early elections. The court ruling means that the government will be able to perform its duties and functions without any hindrances, unless and until the CCJ rules otherwise. It could take months for the case to maneuver its way through the Caribbean Court of Justice and for there to be a final decision. The government has already indicated that it will continue with its business as usual. Foreign Minister Carl Greenidge.
This majority decision reaffirms and underscores that democracy in Guyana remains robust and strong, and that we are, as a society, making significant strides with regard to how we approach complex and difficult problems in a mature and responsible manner, the spurts of disruptive and divisive calls notwithstanding. It also underscores respect for the independence of the judiciary and the separation of powers. I now appeal to all Guyanese to respect the ruling of the Court of Appeal, and should there be additional legal challenges at the level of the Caribbean Court of Justice, we should remain calm in awaiting the outcome of that process as well.
More news coming up in just a moment.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong, be the one to live right.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. because we see Guyana through your eyes.
Hello, baby. Yeah.
It's knocked away from Yang Huang.
Yo, why you gotta get away from she credit, buddy? I recommend that you for blah blah. Let me watch the game. But it's not you that buy back the credit when it's done. Buy back because she money from Fab 5.
Activate the GTT Fab 5 plan today. For only 5,005, you get free unlimited calls to 4 of your closest family and friends, 5 gigs of data plus 250 text messages, and your Fab 5 friends can call you for free. GTT Fab 5.
Wait. So who we putting as we Fab 5?
Welcome back. Well, following the decision by the Court of Appeal by a majority ruling to invalidate the no-confidence motion against the government, the Private Sector Commission has issued a call for the ruling of the appeal court to be respected. In a statement on Saturday, the Commission said it calls upon all of the political parties and their supporters and the entire country to respect the decision of the court. But the private sector body has also issued a call on the Elections Commission to continue its preparations for the holding of general and regional elections whenever they become constitutionally due. GCOM has indicated that it was preparing itself for a November timeline for general and regional elections, but that timeline was as a result of early elections being triggered by the no-confidence motion, which has now been invalidated. GCOM has already started its work plan for 2019, which includes the house-to-house registration process. That work plan had been approved and budgeted for before the no-confidence motion. The Court of Appeal on Friday ruled that the no-confidence motion was not properly passed because there was not an absolute majority of the votes needed to carry the motion. And still with GCOM, the Guyana Elections Commission, in keeping with its 2019 work plan, has started training for the house-to-house registration process. Over the weekend, the training of court trainers started. The court trainers will be the ones who will have to move on to train the enumerators and the assistant registration officers for the house-to-house registration process. As part of the training for the trainers, they are being exposed to the house-to-house registration exercise and documents that will be used during that exercise. Additionally, issues of the processing of data obtained and the security of that data are among the issues being discussed. A few weeks ago, GCOM placed several ads in the local press with vacancies for various positions as it gets set to begin a nationwide house-to-house registration exercise. The government has said house-to-house registration is an important part of its efforts to sanitize the bloated voters list. Well, there is a new president of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Businessman Nicholas Boyer has been elected as the new president. Today, he said the GCCI continues to pay attention to the political situation that the country is facing, pointing out that with the recent Court of Appeal decision, he is more concerned about what will happen at the Caribbean Court of Justice with the appeal there than he would be about whether the opposition goes to Parliament or not.
Honestly, my main focus is more about their intention to take the case to the CCJ, because whether they participate in Parliament or not right now is not the biggest cause for consternation. It is what will happen to this case at the CCJ. That is the major, in terms of planning for me, right? When I go back into my office, whether they participate in Parliament or not is not going to change what's going to happen if any legislation is being proposed and passed through right now. But what happens at the CCJ is going to have more of an impact when I go and step into my office. So that's really more of my concern.
The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce continues to complain about the investment climate in the country and business in total. The Chamber maintains that there are still some concerns about the slowdown in business because of the political situation. Let's tell you now that the head of the Department of Energy, Dr. Mark Biner, was in the Old Boys Town community over the weekend, where he spoke at a forum on the oil and gas sector. During the interactive session with residents, he pointed out that the oil and gas sector will transform Guyana, but there will have to be changes to the way the country does its business. Those changes, he said, are already taking place.
What Exxon has done, if that trend continues, Guyana has only just begun to scratch the surface of its oil and gas potential.
Dr. Bainu also indicated that the sector will not just cater for those working with the oil companies, but for just about anyone else in just about every other sector.
At least 4 will be carrying out exploratory works in 2019, with 4 exploratory wells planned for this year. There's been 12 discoveries thus far, with in excess of 5.5 billion recoverable barrels. And we haven't yet been able to calculate fully what the gas reserves are. And that's because the picture is still somewhat unclear. I'm saying all of this for us to begin to understand, if you think gold was a lot of money, and if you think diamonds brought in a lot of money, this sector has the potential to bring in a single year, more than we are getting in the entire year from all the sectors in GDP. So if Guyana's current GDP is $3.8 billion, this sector has the potential in the future, somewhere maybe around 2025, of bringing in more than 3.8 billion US per annum.
The ExxonMobil company has already discovered 5.5 billion barrels of oil offshore Guyana. Production will start early next year. The Energy Department was set up earlier this year with responsibility for the oil and gas sector. President David Granger has said he intends to set up an oil and gas ministry eventually. In the courts now, 9 years after a Chatamargo store owner was shot dead during a robbery, the man who was charged for the murder was today found guilty and sentenced to 80 years in jail. Moments after a jury found Victor Bob guilty of the murder of 64-year-old Dennis Rama, Justice Navindra Singh handed down the 80-year sentence. The convict showed no signs of remorse as he was led away from the courthouse. Family members of the murdered businessman were present at the courthouse for the sentencing. During the trial, Victor Bob was positively identified as the man who shot the businessman back in 2010 during a robbery. He was reportedly part of a gang that attacked the business place. The court was told that he held the man and his employees at gunpoint before eventually shooting the man twice to the chest. Across the region is coming up next.
Motor gasoline grades are determined by the octane rating of the fuel. The octane rating of a fuel is the standard measure of the performance of a motor gasoline. Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline is a high-octane premium gasoline. Fuel up and drive with Super 95 from Guy Oil.
Guyana! Extra Beer presents the youngest and the hottest dancehall artist, Alkaline.
We make it pass a little drama. When them all pull up themselves, we keep it calm. I feel like my can conquer the world now.
The Conqueror.
Can't stand with Vendetta.
Live on Easter Saturday, April 20th, 2019 at the Guyana National Stadium, Providence. Music by DJ Magnum, Gully Russ, and Diamond. David Hyde, DJ Fresh, DJ Damien, and Andre. Bobby Kush from Jamaica. Super 8 one-man band. Alkaline Live. Alkaline Live. Easter Saturday, 20th of April, 2019. Early bird tickets $2,500. After $3,000. Stage front $15,000. Stay tuned. Tickets out soon. Guyana National Stadium, Providence.
Guyana! It's that time of year again to taste and savor the country's best agro-processed foods. It's all happening at the GMSA's Uncapped Marketplace to be held at the Guyana National Stadium, Providence on March 31 from 10 hours. Come and enjoy delicious foods and healthy local products that blend into an exotic mix to create a true Guyanese flavor. Bring out the entire family for a day of food, games, giveaways, and lots of fun. Admission is free. Don't you miss it!
Across the region right now, the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall have made history by becoming the first members of the royal family to visit Cuba in an official capacity. Prince Charles and Camilla's trip is being seen as an attempt to help form closer ties between the UK and Cuba, which were foes during the Cold War. The couple attended a wreath-laying ceremony for Cuba's national hero. They are due to join the country's president for an official dinner. Later this week, they will be joined by the Commonwealth Minister Lord Ahmad, who is flying to the country to represent the UK government. His presence is an indication of how important Downing Street views the 4-day Cuban visit and its potential to develop new avenues with a country that has already started the process of opening up economically and socially, according to the BBC. Caribbean News Service reports this evening that pilots of the cash-strapped regional airline Liat have rejected a call from the airline to take a salary cut, as the airline seeks to reverse its financial situation. The president of the Leeward Islands Airline Pilots Association, Carl Burke, said his members are very reluctant to accept the call for a salary cut at this time. He said the pilots could also be in a position where next year the airline could come asking for an additional 5% cut, and the pilots do not have that confidence in the team from Liat. Earlier this month, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, said progress had been made regarding the future of the regional airline following a more than 4-hour meeting in Barbados. The Barbados meeting was held against the move by the shareholders to get Caribbean countries to contribute a total of $5.4 million in an emergency funding need to keep the airline in the skies. At the same time, 11 destinations had been given until March 15 to respond to the airline's minimal revenue guarantee proposals. Under that model, it is likely that a few flights may be cut if the government is not prepared to fund them with a guarantee. Gonzalez had given the impression following the Barbados meeting that the major shareholders, Barbados, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica and St. Vincent, were close to securing buy-in from Labour into the plan, even though it would call for some sacrifice on their part. And finally, tonight, international news. Clashes have erupted at the protest by fairground workers in the French city of Le Mans, who are demanding the right to set up stall in the town centre. Police pushed back against hundreds of protesters and demonstrators as rioters targeted the city hall, where staff were evacuated. There were reports of injuries. Rioters pushed a burning caravan at police, who fired rubber pellet grenades into the crowd. That's according to French media. The violence broke out on the fourth day of protests against a decision by the mayor to move their fairground away from the city centre. Fairground workers accused the city authorities of discrimination. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.